You are architecting a Kubernetes-based container-as-a-service platform to enable your developers to build and update enterprise applications faster. But most apps can't run on Kubernetes alone because Kubernetes requires a container-native storage and data management solution to address barriers, preventing wider Kubernetes adoption. The Diamanti Enterprise Kubernetes Platform provides a turnkey solution for deploying modern cloud-native containerized databases and associated applications. With its bare metal architecture, guaranteed quality of service, and PCIe-level isolation for storage and networking, the Diamanti platform provides guaranteed optimal performance for database-as-a-service environments. Let's take a look at setting up a database as a service. As an example, let's use CockroachDB. It's a distributed open-source relational database management system designed to provide high availability, scalability, and strong consistency across a distributed network of nodes. Combining database as a service with Kubernetes can offer several benefits, like scaling DB instances up or down based on demand, high availability using load balancing, isolation using namespaces, optimized resources with flexibility in both horizontal and vertical scaling, and easier updates to database instances. Let's begin with Diamanti Ultima Enterprise on AWS. We have an Ultima Enterprise AWS cluster created using version 3.6.2. We will be using custom scripts to set up CockroachDB in this cluster. First, we will deploy the operator, which will manage all further deployments. As you can see, the operator is set up in a namespace called CockroachDB. This operator will further perform the management of different CockroachDB clusters, which we will set up in different namespaces. Let's now create one cluster using a cluster deploy script. This will create a 3-node cluster. The namespace NS1 is created, and a cluster is running in it. Let's now create a load balancer service so we can access the CockroachDB cluster UI from outside the cluster. For the AWS cluster, we need to add annotations in the service spec to set up the load balancer. In the spec, you can see the namespace, name, and app selector labels are added along with annotations. Let's deploy this spec to create the load balancer service. The load balancer service is created. This will create a network load balancer in AWS. It takes around 5 minutes for AWS to create the load balancer and assign the IP. Now let's take a look at the CockroachDB UI. We can see the nodes and stats like IOPS. Let's run a script to perform some random read-write operations. For this demo, we are using the YCSB tool for data generation in the script. In the same way that we set up this cluster, we can create multiple clusters of CockroachDB, which will be in their own namespaces. Each cluster will have its own resources within the namespace. This makes it database on demand, where a cluster with a user-specified configuration can be created in its own namespace and can be managed independently. Benefits of database as a service on Ultima Enterprise: software patching, backups, high availability across regions, snapshots, and user management. For this video, we took CockroachDB as an example, but we can configure any other database like MongoDB or MySQL, which can be set up to provide a database as a service offering. Adherence to compliance regulations mandates that businesses implement effective access controls for database access. Database as a service simplifies this process, providing administrators with a more convenient means of ensuring compliance throughout the database environment. Administrators can assign users access to specific data relevant to their job roles, and only a restricted number of administrators should be authorized to configure the database. Furthermore, the way data is stored is also subject to compliance regulations designed to safeguard data and protect consumer privacy. With Diamanti, you can keep every team happy, letting developers easily allocate and monitor resources with self-service, auto-scaling, and high availability, while lending operations teams the policy-based control they require with a robust hardware stack. With functions like backup, restore, snapshots, cloning, and more, along with high-performance storage and networking, Diamanti makes it easy for team members of all skill levels to configure and manage any database as a service project on Kubernetes. Find out more at www.diamanti.com or call 408-539-3283 today.